Radio Cobalt!
Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Radio Cobalt.
We need a jingle.
We do need a jingle. But maybe by the time this goes out, you can make a jingle.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the jingle that you just heard, made by Pontus. Anyway, welcome to episode 3. So, in the first episode, we talked about Cobalt in general. In the second episode, we talked about some of the specific modes, mostly the multiplayer modes. And in this episode, we thought we'd talk a little bit about the single-player campaign. So, Pontus, what's the deal?
What's the deal, eh? Well, as I said in a previous episode, Cobalt was started as a single-player, story-based platformer game. And we kept that part, even though we haven't worked that much on it, since there's been a lot of work on the other different modes and improving the game in general. But basically, the single-player mode is an adventure that you can play, and there's a story to the game as well. Basically, the story is... it's set in the future, of course, and this company, Borealis, a multinational corporation, which you also often find in sci-fi genres in general.
But this is not a general world. This is specific to our world.
All right, specific to our world. Borealis. Anyway, they sent an expedition to this planet called Trankopolis, or Trankopia. Where they set up a colony and it was thriving, but then one day it got lost, or they lost contact with it. And the years went by, nobody found out why. There were several expeditions sent that way, but nobody returned, and they didn't know what happened to the colony. A couple of 100 years later, it's dug up again, the information about the colony, and interest in what happened is once again... reignited.
Yes.
So a new expedition is sent out, this time with a cyborg named Cobalt.
That explains the name of the game.
Yes.
Goodness
Also,
me.
yeah, well, there are all other connections to the name Cobalt as well. But yeah, Cobalt is the space investigator agent that's sent to Trankopia by Borealis, by the way, to find out what happened to the previous colony.
So just before you go on there, why is he called Agent Cobalt? What's the deal with? Is that some kind of metal or something? What's the deal with
It's
Cobalt?
a cool name. That's basically it, if we have to be honest. But yeah,
There is a whole array of explanations.
Well, the true explanation is it's a cool name and it's a cool metal. But then we force-fitted a story to it as well. Not really. We had the story before, but Cobalt is a metal, yes, and it's I think it's a rare metal. It's not a rare now, but it's exhaustible. So definitely that could be something that you would want to mine maybe in the future on asteroids and stuff like that. Also, interestingly, Cobalt can theoretically there can be a synthetic version of blood which uses cobalt instead of iron. And maybe that works better in cyborg organisms.
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe.
And if you look at the Cobalt menu, it says something about cobalt-based blood. So maybe,
All right.
maybe it's actually true.
Yeah.
Interesting. So cool. So cyborg dude
Or do
visits or do that. Let's not be sexist about it.
Oh, actually, I think the primary, the main procedure for making these cyborgs is that they usually get a memory swipe. Whatever gender they have, they don't really know. They might feel it, I don't know, but they don't really remember what gender
They
they
don't
are.
remember anything from their previous lives.
So they
Or
could
do
be.
they? We don't know.
Well, maybe. Who
We'll
knows?
see in the story.
Well, I hope you know.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, well, we know.
Okay, so Agent Cobalt, gender unspecified, goes to this abandoned planet where there was once a colony. What happens then?
Well, you start off exploring an old base, and you quite soon realize that some of the equipment, especially the AI robots that were helping the colony, might not have gone lost, and they're still there. So you start already from the get-go. You start getting clues as to what might have happened on the planet.
Nice. That sounds cool. Well, I guess we don't want to go too spoilery into the actual story. I think, should we leave it there for the story?
Let's leave it there, yeah.
Okay, but mechanically then, so is this a kind of, am I just going to be running across this landscape kind of shooting fools? What's the deal with this?
Well, let's start with the maps, maybe.
Yeah, like the big map.
Yeah, how is it structured?
You could imagine, if you imagine a network of nodes splashed out across a green fluctuating, I don't know, screen. You can imagine that is the sort of the world map you traverse in the single player. It's sort of comparable to Super Mario world maps, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's not a grid, and it's not, you don't see the entire map, but you sort of, as you unlock it, you explore further what a map looks like. And that is how you access the different parts of the story.
Cool.
So there is an element of free-form exploration as well.
Yeah.
Slightly. But that's not the main point of it.
And each one of these nodes, of course, represents a map or a part of the adventure which you're presented. And the maps themselves, it's not just one single screen. There can be several screens which you traverse, and there's a random element to some of them as well. So it adds to the replayability of the adventure mode. And it's not just about running around and gunning down people. Sometimes you have to ask before you shoot.
Sounds very sophisticated when you said that. So what you're saying is you can interact with enemies in ways other than shooting them.
Enemies or allies. You can definitely go and talk and investigate on your own. And of course, try and talk yourself out of a hostile situation. When we first started Cobalt, we were really inspired by Fallout, which is another one of at least my favorite games. I think Donald's as well. And the thing about Fallout is that you don't always have to go the hostile way. There's a lot to the characters. The bad guys aren't always bad and stuff like that. And we wanted to have some sort of that element in the game. Now, if we're achieving that, I don't know, but you can definitely go around, talk, and investigate in a peaceful manner.
Cool.
Yeah, we have a sort of a part of this is that we have an information system which we employ sometimes when we design the maps, which means that when you overhear someone saying something or you find something, you can later use those new terms or topics as sort of entry points to make things happen with other characters.
So you kind of broaden your kind of vocabulary of interactions with these guys. You kind of
So when you first meet a person, you might be able to say hi, and that person says hi, and then you think you can do nothing more. But then you run away, find something, come back, and suddenly you can say like, "Hey, what was that?" And he'll say, "Oh, that's just this and that," and then he'll give you either like a task or a mission or a reward or new information.
Or if you do something positive to that group, that can also unlock other
Yes.
of talking. Hey, here comes the hero. Let's talk more instead of just saying hi and goodbye.
Will there be loot?
Loot? Yes.
There will be loot, but there will not be loot in like Diablo or Borderlands way. But it's more, I don't know, you could compare it to...
Well, you can find guns, you can pick up gems or other stuff that you can sell and get money and buy stuff or buy upgrades or stuff like that.
But then there is also other things like unlockable characters and like for the entire adventure.
Yeah, that's part of the meta game, I guess.
Yeah.
Part of the selection screen, sort of, that when you choose a map, you can see like this map. Of course, you can complete the map and continue on with your adventure, but there are also unlockable stuff, like you can unlock a new multiplayer level, or you can unlock a new character to use in the adventure and stuff like that.
If you like manage to complete a specific task in
so it's
the map.
It's a bit arcadic, arcadey, I
Yeah.
guess, but it adds to the progression that you can have as a player.
That sounds very cool. Okay, I guess we should wrap it up there for episode 3 of Radio Cobalt. So once again, thanks guys. Thanks for the information. Thank you, Pontus.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
I just so far, I don't think we have any unlockable like multiplayer maps. It's more like unlock a specific strange
Mode.
like a
within
setting.
that.
Like if you're playing deathmatch,
Yeah.
you could unlock the ability to only spawn bird eggs all over the map. That's like a special modifier. Those kinds of unlocks, which is sort of like a funky mode, but it's not like, yeah, it's special.
What do the birds do?
They just pop and you have them on your shoulders, and then they pick the eyes out of the robots
Or the enemies.
or the enemies. The other person, and the birds, they fly away and they pick up guns and grenades and throw them on your enemies.
That's a very pleasant place to end. Episode 3 of Radio Cobalt. Birds pecking out the eyes of other robots. So yes, see you next time, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye bye.